when there are challenges that come up, whether it's in the creative process or building technology or on the marketing side, you know, what, how do you handle them? How do you move through sort of creative blocks? Because these guys have been amazingly patient as GiftPlayLove has taken longer than expected to launch. But it launched on Valentine's Day, which was, you know, the amazing time for it to go live. But really, you know, how do you guys handle that, and how do you overcome challenges? And you can even take that to a larger level of how can we, as you know, a planetary body, overcome challenges now.
Why do you look at me?
Because I don't want to open my mouth. I don't know.
I'll go second this time.
Well,
I just look at things like if what you're doing is right, if the universe wants it to happen, because I'm a big believer in, you know, the universe is going to have you do what you're supposed to do. Because Gary it's my lovely fiance back there, he's adorable. But he can attest to this. But like the universe puts you where you need to be at that particular moment, whether it's good or it's completely tragic. But you know, I think that if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it will happen. And if you just, you know, if you just have faith in the universe that if this is supposed to happen, it will. That's just the way I look at things.
So trust.
Trust.
Mm-hmm.
and I think if you're doing things truly for the greater good, there's really no steps backwards. I mean, going backwards is sometimes going forwards. And just to keep that in mind at all times and to keep reevaluating it is the way I'm even looking at this, a peaceful way. Am I actually being an agent of positive change just by the way I'm building this thing right now? Because it's all connected. You can't be putting out something beautiful and incredible like GiftPlayLove and be frustrated the whole way. Because at every point of the journey, you are transmitting some type of vibe, right?
Yes.
So, and that ultimately becomes your ultimate gift is kind of being a love being while you're doing this and realize you're doing it all for love and for the greater good. So no matter what comes up, you're really jazzed to be the one who can overcome the obstacle.
I love that. Awesome.
I can't beat that, so
We're going to go second.
yes.
Sorry.
It's good. I'm gonna go now. I can't anymore.
No, that was really beautiful. Well, I'll share my brief story on that. It's what John just said. It's really fascinating because, if I'm really brutally honest, GiftPlayLove was something that I was like, it just needs to happen. It just needs to launch. We just got to get it going. Like, and I was in this place of like doing action with it, like just make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. Because like I've been trained that way, living in a studio world for quite a while. And you know, Haley, who's on the Synergy TV team, has said, you know, very beautifully once that the intention of what you're creating is felt and it's received on the other side. And you know, I just. Literally everything that could have gone wrong with GiftPlayLove did. Like you know, Joe and Phoenix really saw everything, and I mean, I can't even tell you how many roadblocks I got to the point where I'm like, this thing may just stay in the shop and never get released. And I had to get to this place with it where I realized I had been like trucking along with this big thing, like trying to pull it along and like dragging this whole thing along with me, and then realized like this thing's called GiftPlayLove. Like, what does that mean? And I realized I first had to elevate to the level of love. Like the project was actually up here, and I was down here trying to like pull this thing along and make it happen. And I realized, oh no, I just had to elevate right up to that level of love, and then boom, I got a piece, and then. Gift, right? What is what is a gift about? Like, can I unconditionally give without receiving, right? Because we often try to give and we want something back, even if we don't know. We want some appreciation or acknowledgement back. So I had to blow that one out. And then the third one, you know, someone was like, you need to play more. Like, you work a lot. Like, can you play more? And I'm like, wow, yeah. Like, and it's just this beautiful thing because this name, you know, chose me. And it was fascinating because as I started to heal and work on each of those pieces, it started to move a lot more synchronistically and happen. And it was just the most amazing learning process, and I'm so glad it didn't launch earlier, even though Sharon is always like, when is it going live? Let's go! And I'm like, I know, and I was so, talk about embarrassed, and I'm one of those people that hits deadline all the time, and
I didn't need to be.
no, you're amazing. You guys were the most patient, loving people. Like, part of the best part of this process was that, I'm used to people like pushing to get things done, and I was one of those people. And all of them were just like, hey, we're just so happy you want to do this, and we support you, and like, I was just blown away by the generosity, the patience, the love that each of these people were pouring into this, and it was just like the universe was waiting for me to wake up and get in alignment with what Gift Play Love is all about. And so I share that in case any of you have any creative processes you're going through, like, can you vibrate at the level of the creation that you want to bring forward in the world? Because that's what this whole thing is about. And through this, it inspired me to do a 40 Days of Love thing on Facebook, where each day I love someone and tell them why I love them, and that was part of what spawned out of this as well. So it's been really cool, and each of these films has been part of what it's been about for me, like paying it forward, which is what Gift Play Love really is, sacrifice, which is what I've been doing in terms of like staying up till 3 a.m. and literally putting in time, money, and really and then peace, like how peaceful can I be with myself as I'm going through this, and forgive myself for not being perfect, right? And then I have to share, Joe and Phoenix are, they're this an amazing technology team, but they're very spiritual and very bright and very wise people, and I would have calls with them, and there were days when I would be so frustrated, and all I would do would just be like, how do I shift out of this? And I'd send them a note just being like, I love you guys, you're amazing, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And it would just shift the entire process for all of us to just be like, okay, we're aligned, like let's get it, let's go. So yeah, it was this really, really neat process, and it's total learning. And anyway, so when I really got to the place where I didn't care if anyone saw this anymore, and if it did well or was successful, and I just was so deeply proud of it and deeply proud of these people's work, that's when it all started. That's when the magic happened. So I had to share that, because what I learned has to be shared from this experience, because it was so life-changing for me. And you guys are all, I know a lot of you here are creating projects in the world, really meaningful stuff. So I share that in case it helps. But yeah, so before we go to Q&A, yeah, go ahead.
Can I comment on it?
Yes.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, because I think that you are, a reflection for many of us in this room who are practicing all of the virtues that you just mentioned. And also, a feeling that I got from when you were sharing is that, I'm a publicist, and I'm a conscious branding person, so I work with a lot of transformational people. And what I noticed in my business, and also what you shared, is that when we're the ones that are birthing, the very thing that we're putting into this holographic universe, this parallel experience that we are in existence in right now, we do have to go through these, somewhat challenging, difficult, kind of getting out of our own web, the shadows, whatever we want to call them, to move through like a butterfly does, right? So I also felt like you were also feeling the massiveness of humanity, because this is kind of a big deal. What you're doing here, this is not like a little thing, honey.
If I could just echo that, when I first met Kate and she told me what she was building, that was the exact thought that I had. And when I don't know if I ever told you this, but I knew that you were going to go through this, because I'm like, okay, you can't start a conscious channel that deals with like this kind of content, make it completely democratized and touch as many people without having to go through something. You're going to go through the ringer with this, but that's what it takes. And I think it's exactly what you said. I think anytime you put out something like that, you really believe in, the universe is going to throw all this stuff at you to see, whether you're going to go through the fear or not, and get to the other side.
Yeah, major initiation, major, yeah, and but so grateful for it now, like not in the moment fully grateful of it, but like so grateful. This is like the best learning, the best school I could have ever signed up for, and Joe and Phoenix has just been like amazing. Some of the, I mean, if you guys get a chance to work with them, please do, and same with these guys. I mean, it's just, they're just, I can't even tell you how many times I smiled reading any of their emails, and yeah, so I'm excited to see how these films go out there and touch as many other lives, because I really know they will.